Today, we're taking a look at Whisk. It's a new experimental AI tool from Google Labs, and it's kind of rethinking how we create images from the ground up.
So if you've ever played around with AI image generators, you definitely know the feeling, right? You're trying to describe exactly what's in your head, typing out these super long, super detailed text prompts. It feels less like being creative and more like you're trying to write code. But what if you could just use pictures instead? Well, that is the whole idea behind Whisk. You can think of it as a remixer for pictures. It lets you start with images, not words, to visualize and mash up your ideas in a way that just feels, well, a lot more natural. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll break down what Whisk actually is. Then, we'll make our first image remix together. After that, we'll get into the cool features to power up your creations. I'll give you some tips for getting better results. And finally, we'll talk about sharing your work and what this all means for the future. So, what really makes Whisk different? It all comes down to how it captures the essence of your ideas, instead of just, copying pixels. What's happening behind the scenes is actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, you feed it some images, one for your subject, one for the scene, and one for the style. Then, Google's Gemini model looks at those pictures and writes a super detailed description for each one. And finally, those descriptions get sent over to Google's image model, either Imagen 3 or the even better Imagen 4, to generate a totally new image from scratch. No, this is probably the most important thing to get about Whisk. Its goal is to capture the essence of your images, the vibe, the main characteristics, not to create a perfect one-to-one copy. And that's exactly what makes all this creative remixing possible. So let's just set our expectations right now. If you upload a photo of a specific person, you are not going to get that same person back. What you'll get is a creative interpretation, maybe someone with similar features but a different hairstyle or expression. Think of Whisk as a tool for exploring ideas really fast, not as a photo editor like Photoshop. All right, enough theory. Let's see how this thing actually works. We're going to walk through the super simple recipe for making your very first creation. The whole thing is built around this easy recipe with three main ingredients. You've got your subject, that's the star of your image. Then there's the scene, which is the background or the world it's in. And finally, the style, which sets the whole artistic vibe. Like, is it a 3D cartoon or maybe a paper cutout? Now, before you hit that generate button, you've got a couple of really useful settings. You can pick the aspect ratio, a widescreen 16:9, a square 1:1, or a vertical 9:16 for something like an Instagram story. And you can choose the model quality. Standard uses Imagen 3, which is great, but best quality dials it up to Imagen 4 for even better results. Okay, once you've got the basics down, it's time to dig into some of Whisk's more advanced and frankly more fun features to really power up your creations. If you're ever stuck for a style idea, Whisk has these awesome one-click presets. You can instantly make your subject look like a vinyl sticker, a little plushie toy, or even a piece of candy in a chocolate box. They're a really fun way to just get the creative juices flowing. And here's a cool thing. After you generate an image, you're not stuck with it. Just hit the Refine button, and it opens up this chat window. You can literally just type in what you want to change. Things like make the hat blue, or add a briefcase next to him. And the AI will create new versions based on what you said. And Whisk has this other feature that is just my favorite. Animation. With a single click of the Animate button, you can bring your still images to life. This is all powered by Google's VO2 model, and it's perfect for adding stuff like subtle camera pans or a little bit of motion. Now, it's good to know that as a free user, you get 10 free animations every month. So you can totally experiment and bring some of your best creations to life without needing to sign up for anything right away. Look, Whisk is still an experiment, and just like any new creative tool, there are little tricks to mastering it. So let's go over a few pro tips that'll help you get much, much better results.
Okay, one of the biggest challenges you're going to run into is consistency, especially with characters and objects. Because Whisk is designed to capture that essence, getting it to perfectly recreate the exact same person or car over and over is pretty tough. But there are ways to help it along. So here are the best practices. First, click on your subject image to see the description that Gemini wrote for it, and then add more specific details yourself. So if you're using a car, don't let the AI just say red sports car. Go in and edit the prompt to say red 911 GT2 RS. And here's a huge tip. Try to use subject images that have a clean, plain white background. It really helps the AI focus in and identify exactly what the subject is.
Okay, last up, let's talk about how to manage all your cool new creations and what Whisk's unique sharing feature could mean for the future of creativity. Everything you make is automatically saved and organized for you in a place called My Library. You can find all your different projects there, and inside each one, you'll see all the images you generated, plus a separate spot for any videos you animated. You can even rename the projects to keep things nice and tidy. Now, the sharing feature is where things get really, really interesting. You don't just share the final image, you can share the entire recipe, the subject, scene, and style images you used, plus the text prompt. Anyone who has the link can open your project and start remixing it themselves. I mean, you can see how this could totally kickstart new collaborative trends. So the key info to remember is this. As of right now, Whisk is free to use in the US. You can find it at labs.google/whisk. And just keep in mind, this is a Google Labs experiment. The whole point is to get feedback from people like you to help figure out what this technology should become. And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. Tools like Whisk are making AI creation more visual, more intuitive, and less about typing complex code. As that trend continues, how is it going to fundamentally change the way we all brainstorm, collaborate, and share our ideas with the world?